Dynamo offers multiple ways for creating all kinds of patterns, including trim patterns. Hi folks, I'm Gigi, and in this video I will show you how to create a trim pattern using the 2DXY pattern script and the MSP by Surface script. The latter one is the updated version, which I've released in the free Alias Extension Release 1.0 last week. If you don't have that one yet, but want to use it, please watch the video I'm linking in the top right corner now. It will explain how to get it. So let's get started. To create point patterns, I've written the script 2DXY pattern, can be found on the Dynamo toolbox on the patterning tab, all on the left. And I've activated auto update here. The script provides two different ways to create point patterns. The one is distribute and the other one is fixed distance. In this video we will mainly talk about the first one, but at the end I'll talk about the second one and how to use that one with a different approach, but this is likely a different video. So with the distribute mode on, you just care about the distribute section of the script, so you can collapse the fixed distance one to not get confused. And if I just hit accept once, you see it already created a point pattern here and a surface. And I'll talk about the surface in a second. Let's concentrate on the point pattern first. So you have different types available. You can create a point pattern with a shifted grid pattern, a circular one, spiral, hexagon. You can play around on whatever you want to have. For the loudspeaker pattern, we want to have a circular grid. And these are a little bit too many points, so I just want to go with the amount of 6 rings and an amount of 6 radial lines. This looks about right. And down on the downward section of the script, in the advanced section, you can see we can create a surface. And this surface is just there for dimensioning reference. So for example, if I just go pick nothing, pick object, if I would move this surface, it's part of the script, it would kill the history, and this is not what we want to do. But what this allows us to do is we can pick this one, say copy paste, and we've just created a second surface with the exact same dimensions. And what you can do now in the original one, you can say I want to give the tool a user surface, optional, so let's take this one here. And then now the point pattern is linked to our second surface, and this surface here we can actually move around, and the point pattern moves with it. And we can also, for example, scale it, and the pattern will adapt. And what we could do now is we could just use this surface and place it at the loudspeaker pattern, but there's an even easier way to get it into the right place, which is on the General tab. We can use the Curve to Surface tool, which creates planar surfaces from curves covering the whole curve area. And here we take the trim surface as an input, hit build, and now you see we have built a planar surface covering the area we want to trim, which is perfect. And this is the one we are going to use for the trimming in a few seconds. So what I'm going to do now is query edit the original pattern script. I'm saying, hey, don't use this surface here, but use this surface here instead. And now we do have the points in place where we want to use them for trimming. And how we are going to do that is the next step. First, we need a solid, and I'll show you how to create one that right now. While you can create your own solid, usually you use basic shapes for trimming. So what I've done is I've written a create solid script, which is part of the Alias Extension Release I mentioned earlier. And if I just hit build, this builds me a solid at 0, 0, 0. And you can decide on how many sides the solid should have. Below 3, it will give you just a circular one. Starting with 3, you can have any number of sides going up to 8. And for this trimming pattern, let's go for 6 one here. And you can also change the height, which is not really that relevant usually, but you want to make it long enough that even on curved surfaces you get the whole solid intersecting the area you want to trim. And the radius, I think maybe roughly 5 might be right for getting our trim patterning done here. So now we have our solid. We will move on to the next step, which is placing the solid at this location here to use it for trimming. So let's start multi-surface patterning by surface. And again, this is the updated version from the Alias Extension Release. Make sure you use that one. We are selecting the surface to use for the placement. We are selecting the points on that surface. We are then selecting the target where the object shall be placed on. And we are selecting the object to place. And then we get the result of the placed objects. And now the reason why you need to use MSP by surface, the updated version, is these new options are only available in that one here. You can switch off the display of the place objects and you can directly use them for trimming. So if we now remove the shading of the placement surface and also the shading of the original trimmed surface, you can see we've trimmed the surface with our object. And the next thing we want to look into is we want to add a little bit of scaling to that. So the first scaling I want to apply is I want to make these all a little bit smaller just from the base, because I find the distances from the trimmed areas is a little bit too small, and I can do that by just scaling down the initial solid I've been used for trimming. Okay, and now they're all a little bit smaller. I want them to make them in the center a little bit bigger while keeping them this small on the outside. The first thing we need to do for that is we need to take this surface here and we need to move it a little bit away. The reason for that is that on 0 distance there's a bug which prevents it from working. I fixed that one meanwhile, but I haven't released the fixed version of the script. And now what we can do is we can increase the degree of the surface here. All right. Now we query edit the original trimming. We activate scaling. And now we're saying that at a distance of 0 we don't scale, and then ongoing up to a distance of 50 we scale the trimming entities up to a scale value of 2. And now we've activated the scaling. What we can do is we can pick the center CV, can again move it in normal direction, and now the further the surface gets away from the target surface, you can see that their inner points or the inner objects are scaled up to double of the size, while the outer ones stay small. And this is how you create a non-linear scaled trimming pattern of a loudspeaker. I hope you found this video useful. Stay curious.